3rd of April. It's 11 a.m. on a Tuesday here in Australia. Here is a crypto update video. I haven't done one for a while for a number of reasons. One, I was overseas in Egypt on a 2-week tour. It was an unbelievable experience and I highly recommend it. Definitely looking into going with commentaries.com. You get to learn a whole heap of stuff about, I suppose, our history and civilization, and a lot more than you probably would with one of the generic tour groups. So yeah, Egypt was great. Next one was, the reason being, I've been holding back just watching the market because we've been in a massive bear crawl or a bear market since December. We saw that massive run, and I've opened up 3 charts here. These 3 charts, we've got the initial from 2013 to 2018. You can see this massive shark tooth, and it's no surprise that the market's come back this far. I didn't think it would come back as far as it has. However, when you look at it and you do a little bit of hindsight technical analysis and just look at and apply Fibonacci and just look at how much money came in at the speed it came in December, it's obviously of no surprise. These other 2 charts, I've got log scale here, and log scale makes it look a whole heap better. And I think we're getting close to what we could call a bottom. And I think, we've seen Bitcoin test about 6,000 US, and there's been some nervous times whether or not we would see that actually break that point and go down even further. There's a little bit of FUD in the news about Bitcoin being hammered by the cartels, trying to bring it right back down to 1,000, so it becomes, the most hated asset in history, which would obviously create a massive swing back as well. I think there's a lot of faith in Bitcoin, regardless of the initial price or how far it gets smacked down. But I think the 6,000 or 6,600 mark is where it's been hovering. It's hit it once or twice over the last few weeks, and we've had a double bottom in the last week or so. And the other couple of trends I've seen is, we've got attacked on at Christmas time where all the banks were closed, and this time it's happened again over Easter. So just keep that in mind. Obviously the holidays, if you're not prepared and you don't have money and you're not watching the markets, some things can happen. It can happen very, very quickly in crypto. So where are we going? I've written a whole heap of things down on a little piece of paper, which I thought I might share with you, and just sort of share with you what I'm looking for from here, and what I'm hoping for as an investor, and also what I'm going to be doing as an investor. It doesn't mean you go and do what I'm doing. I'm just sharing with you what I'm looking to do over the next, especially 6 months to 18 months. Got a little bit of a strategy there, because I do think the crypto space is going to continually evolve. I think 2017 was definitely the year of crypto in the sense of, the initial hype. We had all the ICOs. We've got a whole heap of entities with products that aren't necessarily even launched yet, which is a bit of surprise. There's a lot of quite large market caps, and they don't even have a product to serve. However, we're starting to see some of these products roll out. Some of them have been delayed, and I think that's going to be the next stage, is definitely waiting for some of these applications and some of these products to actually be launched. And I think it's going to come down to some normal business growth from here for a lot of these cryptos, because the attention is going to move. There's going to be more ICOs, there's going to be more FUD, there's going to be more attention in other areas. And I think as an investor in these early days, I think it's really important not just to put all your money into one place and just cross your fingers. I think it's really important to understand what's going on with the entire market, because I think it can change very, very quickly. And like I said, sometimes the attention moves from one coin to another. Doesn't mean it won't come back to yours and those sort of things, but I think we've got to be mindful of the technology and how functional it's going to be in future. Like last year was a bit different. Everything was going up and was obtaining attention. Is the product and the platform that you're invested in going to hold strong over the next 12 months? What else is going to be happening from here? I think regulations is going to come in. I think it's going to be a good thing. But I also think that regulations are going to take a long time. It's going to be really, really difficult to regulate all the different aspects. We've got exchanges, we've got individuals, we've got gateways, and there's all sorts of new technology coming in. So the legislation is going to continually be challenged because of different protocols and different things that are going to arise in the space. So I believe that regulations will come out in a really sort of general form, and I think when that happens, I think the market will get a boost. I think there'll be, and it'll probably be more around protecting hedge funds or something like that. There'll be some sort of measures in place to protect the funds going in and out, which hopefully will cause a little bit more liquidity and a little bit more confidence for some of the bigger players to come into the market. So keeping our eye out for regulations. However, I think it might take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it's going, well, forever really. It's going to continually evolve, but it's also going to be dictated by the jurisdiction you're in. You know, Australia versus Asia, or Russia versus Europe. It's going to be very, very different in all these places. I think there's going to be a shitcoin clean out. Now, we saw Bittrex just go and clean out 25 coins. It was probably more than that. I wasn't invested in any of them. Some of them I didn't even recognise and didn't even realise they were on the exchange. I think that's going to be something we're going to be seeing. So make sure that if you did invest in any of these ones from last year, just make sure that there's going to be, they're going to be shown and visible and available on exchanges in the next 12 months. So the last thing you want to do is take your eye off the game and then realise that your coin has no access to the public, and you're just holding a bag of digital assets and it's not worth anything. So definitely keep your eye out. Just have a review of your portfolio. I think that's probably a good thing. And continually do that and apply news and different evolutions in the marketplace to those things. Waiting for more applications. I talked about that, and I did say that business growth is going to become a little bit more organic for some of them. I still do believe that the market cap and the market itself has not obtained enough market share for the big boys to feel like they can let it do what it needs to do to breathe on its own. It's still very much on the edge in regards to mass adoption and application in real life or real use cases. So there's still a lot of work to be done over the next 2 or 3 years, and I do believe that we're going to see some big money come in, hopefully this year, and especially in the next couple of years. Mass adoption news and catalyst events to push another bull run. Now, I think we're close to another bull run. Like I said, some experts are looking at the 15th to 17th this month being the start. I mean, $800 billion is not going to just come straight into the market, but I think there's going to be, a few weeks or a month. It will take a month or so of positive energy in the space for people to start to believe that we might be back on a bull run. And it's going to have to sort of reflect on the thing. I can sort of feel a little bit of a trend. Doesn't mean we won't get the Bitcoin won't be tested again at 6.5 or 6,000, or maybe we'll have a flash crash or something like that. This is the fear of the market. However, we've got to just keep our eye on the game, and I do believe there's a lot more positive stuff than negative to come. And if you look at this graph here, there's no doubt that I think that we're ready for an uptrend soon. Mass adoption news. This is the big thing that I'm looking for in the space. At the moment, we've got all these great ideas. Some platforms are coming out. We've got utility coins, tokens, and all sorts of different things. But are they being used at a mass adoption level? And I don't think they are necessarily yet. Bitcoin is, and a couple of the others are starting to get payment gateways, and they've got vendors accepting cryptocurrencies, and I think that's very, very important. But there needs to be something bigger. And one thing that I have sort of noticed, and I think when we do see these mass adoption news actually start to roll in, and I think it's going to be an event of some sort that's going to really spark and hopefully spark the market. And I think Verge might be on the verge of something on the 15th to 17th. Go and do your research. There is a couple of videos, lots of positive stuff in the group. I've already got in a little bit earlier. I got in late last year, or actually it was early last year. Time's flying. But they're talking about Verge being accepted by one of the leading, so one of the best, one of the biggest payment systems in the world as an exclusive cryptocurrency asset or option in their payment system. So there's a lot of speculation going around. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be an eBay or a PayPal or a Visa or a Western Wire, or there's all sorts of stuff going around. No one really knows, because Justin has signed an NDA. He's the lead dev, and I think they're talking about a mass marketing program and all sorts of stuff. So it sounds very exciting. And that's 14 days away. Now, what's going to happen? And the big experts, TA experts, are expecting a bull run to start on the same day. So maybe we're going to get this big news across the tabloids. Verge accepted by, one of the big leading, I don't want to speculate too much, but it's one of those big payment gateways, and all of a sudden the whole market is sparked. And they're the sort of things that create a domino effect, and it exposes the crypto space to a whole heap of new users that may not even be in this space when they go to make their payments. They see Verge coming up, they go, what's that? They go and do some research into cryptocurrencies, and I think there'll be a lot more positive energy and some liquidity, not only come into Verge, but I think come into the entire space, which is definitely going to be a positive thing for all the crypto nuts out there. So let's cross our fingers, and that's what we need. We want, and we should be looking for this in the space. We want positive news from some of the leading cryptocurrencies, especially, I think, because that's what's going to kickstart the entire space as a whole. I do think it does come back to the currencies overall and a payment system. Are we going to see 3 waves towards Christmas again like we did last year? We saw the early June craziness, some bit more in August. We had forks in between, which disrupted this massive surge, and then there was a massive 500 billion sort of crazy 45-day run into Christmas. Are we going to see it again? You know what? I don't know. Bit of a letdown, isn't it? But based on everything that I see in the space and history, the stage that the market is at, there is no doubt that I think that there's more positive possibility that we're going to see this money come in this year than have to wait, say, 1, 2 or 3 years. If you're going back, look back at Amazon when they first came out, I think it was something like 2008. I might have got this wrong, but they had a massive bubble and everyone was calling it a tech bubble, and it reached a high. And then for 10 years, I did have a graph on it somewhere, but for 10 years, it took 10 years for it to get back to that price. Now, that was one entity within the dot-com bubble. So, and Amazon is a massive leader right now. I think this space is different. We're not talking about the development and the beginning of the internet where people weren't familiar with using these applications. We're already at that stage. So everything in the timeline is going to be shortened, in my opinion. So I think as a whole, when you look at the entire crypto space, if you can look at the entire market capitalization, I think that we're talking months rather than years. Will it be September? Will it be on the 15th or 17th of this month? Will we see 2 or 3 waves between here and Christmas? Let's hope so. And let's hope that we go to new heights, especially if you're an investor or if you're just really interested in the space like I am. What am I going to be doing over the next 12 months in particular? I've got some goals. I've got big goals and I need to succeed, and I'm applying a lot of manifestation to this space. So I'm changing my focus a little bit. Obviously there's been a lot of learning curves along the way, and I'm going to be a little bit smarter with my money, and I'm looking at stacking a lot more of the utility coins. So I'm looking at those, definitely the ones in the top 10 have got a lot more attention, but it has to have a function. There's no point being in the top 10 with a big market cap if you don't have a product that's going to stand the test of time, because I think you're just going to lose attention and it's just going to bleed into coins that deliver more, better services and better products. So utility coins, anything, there's a whole heap of platforms, like we talk about the smaller versions like PayPal and PayPal, and there's a whole heap of different speculation platforms, and then we're talking about the cryptocurrencies, and then you're talking about EOS, which is going to have their tokens going to be used for not only staking but for verifying the network, and as well as for storage. And there's a whole heap of, if the token has an internal use and there's a reason to hold the token and you get a benefit from holding the token, then I think that they're better than the ones that just tokens being traded on an exchange, if that makes sense. So do a little bit more research into the practical and fundamental use of the utility and ask yourself, what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years? Is it going to go through the roof? Is it going to be adopted by mainstream, or can it be? Or is that a niche that I think is going to work? Then the other one is I'm going to be targeting strength. Now, targeting strength means I have to keep my eye on the game. So, for example, Verge at the moment has got some strength. It's got a big community, so we've got some big news coming up, mass adoption. You could say it's hype. I mean, whether you're don't like the coin or not. I don't think that's irrelevant. I don't think you should ever get attached to a coin. It's very hard to do when you start to get to know some of the people involved and things like that. There is an emotional attachment. But I think you've got to come back and look at, where's the money going? Where's the energy? Is this going to take off? Now, everything's pointing at Verge having a really good couple of weeks. And it might be the buy on the rumour, sell on the news. We don't know. If it's a really big deal, then it might go through the roof. But there's going to be other things that are going to come into play in regards to the top 10. All of those coins and all those tokens and all those platforms are going to have to start to show real use application. They're going to have to bring out platforms that are functional. Otherwise, they're going to die a very slow death. So that's what I'm doing. I'm stacking things like the Verges, and I am buying a little bit more of Neo and EOS here and there, and putting my coins and building nice little stakes. And I think trying to build a larger portion on a few. Definitely diversification is really important, but I don't want to spread everything really, really thin. I think having a nice big target niche of some sort where you have a lot of faith and then spread your risk out. I mean, that's probably smart, depending on your capacity to invest money. If you don't want to invest money and you're just interested in the space, then it's going to be a very, very interesting time over the next 3 months. So that's all I wanted to share with you, is just that little blurb of thoughts. I think there's some excitement. I think we're going to start to see a swing in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. Let's hope. There might be a few crazy moments, as we know, in crypto where we get tested again emotionally. However, you've just got to put on your reading glasses and do a lot of research. Stay away from the FUD and all the hype in some of the telegrams. So it can be a bit toxic. I think you've got to get back to the real deal, and then trust your instincts and have a bit of courage. But that's all I got. Let me know what you think, and tune in for the next video, guys, and thanks for all the support.